Right, today we're going to talk about playing 5th edition D&D on Fantasy Grounds. We'll talk about downloading Fantasy Grounds, um, what you need to do to prepare Fantasy Grounds to play, as well as creating a character and combat. So what we have here is Fantasy Grounds website. It's fantasygrounds.com, and this is their main page. When you scroll down, you'll see three different options: demo, standard, and ultimate. As a player, if you were playing with somebody who's running the game, hopefully they're using the ultimate edition, which a lot of the GMs will do that because they can have unlimited demos signed into their account to play. What that means is that except for the GM, everybody can play for free. You don't have to buy books, you don't have to buy the software or anything. So you go in here, download the demo program. When it starts up, it'll ask to register. You don't have to, but it's a good idea. I say it's a good idea because that allows you to get on the forums, ask questions, all that good stuff if you need help with the program. Once that's done, there's no money involved. You've just registered your account. Later on, you can always go in and use that account if you choose to buy the ultimate or standard edition. And you, as you see, you have the choice either buying it outright or paying monthly. You're going to play on Roll20, and let's say you do the $10 a month. That's permanent. It's never paid for. With this, at least, the fee is a one-time fee, so you own it forever. Also, if they upgrade, they're talking about what Fantasy Grounds Unity, maybe in a year or so. If you bought the license within a year, it's supposed to be pretty reasonable, $10 or $15, and like 5 years plus, it might be 40 or so to upgrade. So it's still a lot less for the ultimate to do the upgrade when they redo the software. To get the software, you can either download it here or go to the download page. And if you look on there, there's also a Steam version. So if you use Steam, you can always download the demo version from Steam and do the same thing, get into the game and play that way. So you have two options. They cost the same whether it's on Steam or not. And that's pretty much it. You do decide you want to buy the books, which if you do that, you'll have to own a license. But if you do decide to buy the books, you will end up paying for them. They're all $29.99 if you decide to do a bundle. The bundles do make the books cheaper. You'll get an additional 15% discount. The way a bundle works is, like, if you wanted to buy the essentials, which would be like Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master's Guide, Monster Manual, all the reference books that they have, you would have to buy all those at one time and get an additional 15% off. But that's pretty much it. So let's move on to what you need to do once you have Fantasy Grounds. All right, so as a player, this is the first thing you'll see. And I'm going to go in and set up a character, show you what you need to do to set your library up and everything. Now, I already have my library loaded, but I'm going to go ahead and claim these three characters here because this will be used for my combat demo. For the first time you come in, and if you see I already have these done, I'm going to go ahead and show you what you need to do. You'll pull up library, click on modules. The two modules that are shared by myself as a DM right now are the Player's Handbook and Sword Coast Adventures Guide. It would have this load button there. You click load, and I'm going to show you exactly what happens when you do that. So right now, I don't have them loaded. These are shared with me. Even though I own it, I kind of logged in as someone different because you can log in through localhost if you own the program. And if you're going to stream, you'll probably want to do that because you don't want to show your DM screen. The players can see it if they actually realize you're streaming and see exactly what's going on behind the scenes. So I've got the secondary running on localhost here. First thing you would want to do is load the player's handbook so you can actually generate characters. And once that's loaded, we'll wait for that to turn. Let's say we're playing in a game where they let you use Player's Handbook +1, or maybe the DM only has these two books, so he's going to share them both out. You would load what they have available, and you're ready to go. Now, let's say you're playing an AL game, and you're playing with a GM that owns all of the books, and AL requires Player's Handbook +1. Only load the Player's Handbook plus your +1. Otherwise, you might end up with spells and things that would make your character illegal, and you don't want to do that. All right, so now we have our library set. We are ready to go. And I want to show you one of the nice things. If you own the reference manuals, like with the Player's Handbook, it actually gives me everything that's in the printed Player's Handbook. So if you're only going to play online, buy the books this way. It's cheaper, and you can actually have all of them downloaded and on your computer. Even if you buy just the base license at $39, it's definitely worth it so that you have much more portable reference manuals. You could even take it with you if you're gaming at the table and have your stuff all set and ready to go. But let's go ahead and show you. I mean, it is exactly like what is in the Player's Handbook itself. It has all the information, all the images. But this is what you'll need to create your first character. You'll load up the reference, and we're going to build a ranged character, a ranger. They're not awesome, but we're going to go ahead and set one up so we can do melee, ranged, and spell casting for our combat. And for the wizard, or the ranger, I'm not going to go deep into it. If I level it up to 6, which I probably will, I'll do a lot of that off screen. So this is what we'll do. It's just like in the book where you have the order of how to put your character together. What I do like to do is do the ability scores first. We're going to use the array, 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8. You've got 3 options: array, point buy, or rolling. It's pretty rare that somebody lets you roll. And we are going to use the array. That's generally what I have in my games most of the time. So let's create a character. We'll click on PC up here. And we will make a brand new character. That's going to pop up here, unnamed. We'll open it up, and there's our character sheet. It's ready to go. So what can we name our ranger? How about Rick? He'll be Ranger Rick. Doesn't really matter. All right, so the first thing that I normally do is put my ability scores in first. Let's look at the class. And here is Ranger. We can close that out. And if you're a first-time player, I always recommend just go ahead, use the quick build and follow the instructions there, because you're learning the game and it's not a bad idea to follow these instructions. So you would do dexterity as your highest. 15 is our highest score, so we'll start with a 15. Wisdom would be next. We're not going to focus on 2-weapon fighting, so dexterity will be for our ranged weapons. We'll do wisdom because that's our spell casting ability, so that'll be 14. Con is always a good thing to have, so we'll do that so we have a little more hit points. Our 12. You know what? We're going to put 12 in intelligence. We'll leave charisma at 10. Let strength go to 8. And we're ready. So that's the first thing we'll do. We'll build out our ability scores. Next thing, we choose a race. So we'll go to races. Wisdom is usually a dwarf thing. We're not going to make a dwarf ranger. We're going to go ahead and go human, because why not? And all we need to do to add our race is drag this over and watch your scores. Everything's going to go up by 1 because that's one of the things that happens with your human. So everything jumped up to 1. We now have a 16 in dex for our +3. We have 15 wisdom, 13 intelligence, 14 con. Con's nice because we'll have more hit points. Now, being a human, we're not going to get a lot of stuff out of it. So what we get is our ability score increase, alignment, languages, size, and speed. Other ones like half elf will give you additional skills. Human doesn't do it. We just get a +1 across the board. So we're done with our race. Next, we need our class, and we are going to be a ranger. So all you have to do, I mean, you can pull it up and see what the ranger gets, which we already had that, but we will drag and drop ranger onto class. We're a level 1 ranger. We get to choose 3 skills from the list below. And if you're not sure what these are, then you can always click on these little dragon heads. I'll probably take survival because it's an outdoorsy skill and we're an outdoorsy kind of guy. And it's a wisdom thing, so let's go ahead and do survival. Nature. And athletics is strength. We're not going to go for that. We really need something for dex. We'll get that off of our background. Let's do perception because it's kind of nice to have perception. So those are our 3. Now we have our class done. We need a background as well. And the suggested background for a ranger is down here. You can use it if you want. Outlander is not a bad background. So let's take a look at what skills this will give us. It will give us athletics and survival. Now we already have survival, so let's pull our skills up. We have nature, perception, survival. We've picked up those skills. We will go ahead and add Outlander to our background and watch what happens. We should end up with 4 skills. We have a duplicate, so we'll have a freebie we can throw into whatever we want. So there's our 4th skill. We picked up athletics. We already had survival. That gives us a free skill to add to our character. So we will do acrobatics because that's a dex skill. And we're done with our background. We'll keep it up because we're technically not done. We'll use some of that for buying our equipment and all that good stuff. So we're gonna make these a little smaller, have them up here, and we'll pull them out as we need it when we go to buy equipment. So we've done all we have there. We know that we'll have favored enemy. That's our ability. So we'll have to pick a favorite enemy. So we'll click this on the character sheet and bring that up. Choose a type of favorite enemy: aberrations, beasts, celestials, constructs, demons. You have advantage on wisdom survival checks to track your favorite enemies. When you gain this feature, you also gain 1 language of your choice that is spoken by your favorite enemies. So we're just going to pick humanoid. We're going to assume that we may have a lot more humanoids to worry about, orcs and stuff like that. So humanoid is our favored enemy. What else do we need? So, and I always put that there. It doesn't really pick up other. So you have to choose it, put it there, and you're done. The other thing it will pick up, Natural Explorer. If you're not sure what that is, again, you click the little dragon head, take a look and see what the feature gives you. Difficult terrain doesn't slow your group's travel. So that's when you're in your favored terrain. One type of natural environment. So let's pick a terrain. Arctic coast, desert, forest, grassland, mountain, swamp, or the Underdark. We're going to pick forest. Done. And there's really nothing else to get for that. So while tracking creatures, you'll know their exact number. It's a nice little thing, and you get additional favorite terrains at 6th and 10th level. So we have all of those features put in there. Now at 2nd level, we'll get spellcasting. So when we get to that, I'll do that and show you how to drop spells on your character. And then we're going to move on. So at this point, we have this taken care of. Our class, background, and race. We named our guy. Not that important. I'm sorry. We have our skills, our abilities. We do need to add our languages to do that. You'll go down to the bottom here. Click that. We know we're going to have 2 choice languages. So we're going to have to add a humanoid and one other of our choice. To find languages, go back to library, reference manual. Easy way to find it is type in languages. Brings it up. Our humanoid languages would be the common ones, but let's go ahead and pick. Who do we not like? We don't like orcs. And then we can pick a non-humanoid language, which would come down under these things. Let's pick Draconic. All right, and we'll take off choice because that's not a language, and we'll take off one of your choice because that's also not a language. We will make it so we can't edit that anymore, and we're done with our languages. We'll close reference out because it would just keep those divisors up that we had, and we'll just reopen it. So let's go back to creating a character and see if there's anything else we need to do. We need to choose equipment. Now it also says describe character. I'm not going to go through that, but what they want you to do at that point, under notes, you'll have alignment, deity, all that kind of stuff. Your personality traits will come from your background, and on the background themselves, let's see, we were an Outlander. I'll show you one of them. So for the first one, your personality trait, you would go here. Here's the table. Roll it. See what it drops. We're going to have to get rid of some of this stuff, aren't we? I place no stock in wealthy or well-mannered folk. Money and manners won't save you from a hungry owlbear. So that's actually kind of funny. So what we would do, we know we rolled that one. We'll look for that here. And the nice thing is you don't have to type it. You can just, here's your personality trait. Just go like this, drag and drop, and it's there. So no typing necessary. You would do that for the ideal, bond, flaw. You can type in your appearance, however you want your guy to look, make any notes, and of course gender, all that good stuff. These here for your portrait and token that'll show up on the map when you're actually playing. I'm not going to worry about placing those right now, but that'll be your portrait and token. So let's get rid of this. We're going to put this behind again. And we need to choose equipment. So your equipment is going to be based off of what your class allows you to have. We'll pull up our Ranger again. We'll scroll down. And right here shows your proficiencies and what equipment you'll start with, your starting equipment. We can have scale or leather or armor. So let's pull up items. We'll do, let's see, armor and our weapons and our longbow and other stuff. So we'll go with scale mail. And we want to be in inventory when we do this. So, and you notice equipment's blank. This is all you need to do. You'll drag scale over. It's there. It's equipped. And if we take a look at our character, our AC is now adjusted from where it was. So we've gotten our armor. We can close that out. Next on our list, 2 short swords or 2 simple melee weapons. So let's go to weapons, go to type. We'll just look under simple. Club, dagger, great club, hand axe, javelin, light hammer, mace, quarterstaff, sickle, or spear. We're going to go with the 2 short swords, because we're never going to use them. It doesn't really matter. Let's go with the 2 short swords. Like I said, this is going to be a guy that is ranged. So we'll drop 1 short sword in there. Need to get back to inventory. We'll drop our short sword in, and all you need to do is click, type 2. You don't even need to drag another one on. That's our first weapon. We know we need a longbow and 20 arrows. So we'll go to longbow, drag that on. Arrows will be under items. We'll look up arrows. Arrows 20. We have those. We can get rid of weapons. And then that leaves us our pack. We can either do a Dungeoneers or an Explorers pack. We will do Explorers. We don't feel like looking. We'll just do EXP. The only thing that's going to come up, there's our Explorers pack. Everything in the pack drops into our character. All right, now we're not done with items because we also get items from our background. So let's open that up. So we'll get a staff. That's a weapon, simple weapon, which would be a quarterstaff. We give ourselves that. Let's make sure that we're doing the right thing. Oh, we can just take a staff. So we'll do the staff and get rid of the quarter. All you need to do is highlight that. You right click it, this little skull and crossbones will delete the item. There's the quarterstaff gone. We have a regular staff. Also, we get a hunting trap. That's in the handbook, is one of our items. We'll drop it on there. We get a trophy. This is probably one that's not going to be there, but we'll take a look. So it's not there. If you have items that is not there, you'll do this. Click the plus. We now have a blank item. And I'm not even going to worry about exactly what the animal I killed was, but let's go trophy from animal I killed, and we can figure that out later. Set of traveler's clothes. There they are. Now if you notice under search, you don't have to type everything in because most of these, there aren't a whole lot of things to look for. Pouch. Done with items. We'll put in, there is platinum pieces, gold pieces, silver pieces, and copper pieces. We start off with 10 gold. And with that, our first level character is done. Oh, we also can have a one type of musical instrument. We have the language of our choice already done. And I think that's pretty much it. So the musical instrument, let's get rid of this. We could go in just under items, look at player's handbook. You can see if under types there are musical instruments, stuff like that. So what kind of instrument would we want? Let's get a, nope, don't have that, huh? Or is it because I'm looking under adventuring gear? It is. Let's see if they have a lute. Oh, we'll do a pan flute. Why not? Because that's pretty silly. All right, so with that, we're done with Outlander. And our first level character is ready. And if you notice, our short sword and longbow are both automatically placed with our plus to hit, as well as the damage with your modifier, already ready to go. So that's first level. Now this is what's kind of amusing. It's even simpler when you level up. So let's move this out over here. We'll pop that in a second. We'll look at the reference. And beyond first level, to go to second is 300 XP. So you would go in, if you need to adjust your XP, because it's not being given to you through encounters, or the DM just forgets, but you know how much XP you're supposed to get, you would go in here where you have your class. You click the little magnifying glass. There's our XP. We'll say that we're at 300. Next one is 900. We'll put those in. It doesn't automatically level you when you do that, because it's possible you could have enough XP but not take a long rest and be able to level up yet. So at this point, we would pull up our class, take the ranger, drag that on over, and if you look, we've got our fighting style and spell casting automatically. Now, what you'll do with that, you'll go here, fighting style. Let's see what that gives us. Obviously, we're going to take archery. So +2 bonus to attack rolls you make with ranged weapons. So fighting style, we'll make a note, archery. And on our inventory, let's close this so we're not screwing with our guy. We're going to, we'll actually go over here, and there's our longbow. It's not going to take that into account. We're going to get an automatic +2, add that on there, and that takes care of our fighting style. It doesn't affect your damage, it does affect your to hit. So at this point, we're at +7 to hit at level 2, which is not bad at all. There's our fighting style that was added. And then we also picked up spell casting. Now this is where you'll put this up. If you're not sure how many spells that you'll get, you'll take a look here. Ranger table shows how many spell slots you get. We can look at our class by clicking this. We already have it up, but we're going to go ahead and click it to bring it up. We'll go down to the table, and we get 2 first level spells, the spell slots that we can cast. We just need to add our spells. So spells known. You know, 2 first level spells of your choice from the Ranger spell list. Spells known are there. We won't get additional. Now, it's unlike some of the others where you know all the spells if you're a cleric. You just have to prepare certain ones, or like a wizard will pick up 6 spells at first level. Just a different class, and spells are just there to help you deal more damage. So let's add our second level spells, our first level spells that we got at second level, I should say. So we're going to go 1. We'll pick up the source, which is Ranger. We have Alarm, Animal Friendship, Cure Wounds, Good Berry. Let's see. We'll use Hunter's Mark, because that helps us do more damage, which is really nice. And you know what? Just in case, we're going to take Cure Wounds, because if somebody else is out of heals and I haven't used all my spells at the end of the day, it's nice to have those spells ready. Alright, so there's our spells added, and that's our character built to second level. So as you saw, it's really quick, really easy. Drag and drop. There are a few things you look for, like when you get new abilities. When we get to 4th level, we'll get our ability score improvement. At that point, we will have to go in and manually change our dex to 18. It'll say ability score improvement, and what I'll normally do is simply type dex and assigned and move on. So anything like that that gives you pluses, go in and make the manual adjustments, because those are items you have to pick. But that's it. It's super quick, super simple, super fast. But I'm going to go ahead and level this guy up to 6, and then we'll do some combat. All right, so now we're going to do some combat. And I'm going to run it all in DM side so I can just quickly go through everything. I don't have to switch back and forth. I want to show multiple ways of targeting. Also show some things that will probably have to be entered in manually to be able to use them. Otherwise, you have to roll and apply dice. And I've done one of those on the Rogue. So let's run through the combat here. And Ranger Rick is up first. So he is going to target the War Chief up front. And we will pull up our character sheet so we can see what we're looking at. So he's got, we're going to do Ensnaring Strike. Hopefully get that guy so he is totally hosed and ensnared. By doing that, he will actually be restrained, so he'll have advantage against him on attacks. And also every round, if he fails his save, on his turn he'll take 1d6 additional piercing. And I'll show you how to apply that as well. But we're going to go ahead and we will roll our attack. And if we hit, we'll go ahead and trigger the effect. So let's roll the attack. And we're going to have two ways to do it. So I'm going to do 2 attacks on him, and I'm going to show you the 2 ways to do it. Right now, let me go ahead and undo this. If you look on the GM tracker, which you'll also have it on your player combat tracker where it will show who's targeted, and I'm going to be moving stuff around here. Right now, he doesn't have anyone targeted, so we're ranged. We want to target this guy. So you hold down the control button and click. Now it says he is targeted. And if you look here, it shows the range from my character that I'm currently running to my target. So at this point, all I have to do is double click here on the longbow where you see the D20 plus 9. We'll do that. And let's move out of the way so we can see if it hits. And it missed. So we'll attack again. This time we hit. So at this point, it's hit. We would now click Cast for Ensnaring Strike, and that will automatically trigger the enemy that's hit to do a saving throw to see whether or not he is restrained. So let's go ahead and cast it. He is not restrained, so we won't be able to apply the damage to him. But let's pretend he failed so we can apply it, because we're not going to roll until it happens. While restrained, the target would take 1d6 piercing damage at the start of its turn. A creature restrained by the vines, or one that can touch the creature, can use his action to make a strength save against the spell save DC. On a success, the target's freed. We're going to pretend that he failed. But as you see, when you cast it, it automatically on the enemy throws the save. It'll do a success or a failure, and then you apply everything. So to apply the restrained, because it's under your spell, you're going to drag and drop restrained onto him. That's a condition. So condition 1 will apply to him. So the GM will see for the next minute he would be restrained. That's the duration, 10 rounds. Also, you will apply the other effect, and you'll drag this, the damage D6 piercing. That will apply to him at the start of his turn. Now, the other thing we need to do, because we did hit him, is apply our damage. So let's do that. We just double click. It did 6 damage. The damage is applied directly to that War Chief. There he is with his damage. And apparently I must have applied some damage to him before and not cleared it off. But we're going to leave it alone. Alright, so Rick's turn is done. Now we're going to go to Sneaky Pete. And this is where I'll show you something that I added. And I'm also going to show you a character that's leveled up to 20. And this is why I say register for the forums, because you can download all this stuff and see how it was built. And so let's go ahead. We're going to move Sneaky Pete up. He's going to go, and we have 1, 2, 3. So he's only moved half of his movement. He is a swashbuckler rogue. Now, if you notice, there's a rogue power down here. As a swashbuckler, I can apply the sneak attack to my attacks freely. So I don't have to have someone near me. Also, let's go in here with abilities. So sneak attack, once per turn, we'll apply it. We're going to apply it to our character. And also we have, is it Rakish Audacity? No, that's initiative rolls. Where is it? Oh, it's fancy footwork. We're able to, if we have movement left, we can dual attack and then move away without an opportunity attack. So we only used 3 of our movement. We have 3 left. We'll be able to get away from him because we're sneaky and avoid getting hit. But let's go to our actions, and we're going to apply this to Sneaky Pete. And see, it'll say damage 3d6 on my roll. So let's go ahead and with our short sword do our first attack. Now also, you'll see that I have my offhand attack. I needed to build that. And on offhand, because I don't have a feat, I don't get to get my plus damage on the offhand attack. So I've got 2 separate rolls to do for the dual wielding on this guy. So on the first attack, let's move out of the way so we can see if it hits. Oh, and that's where I screwed up. So right there we went, oh, damn. I just got excited. I rolled. I didn't target somebody. So at this point, I can take the attack, and it looks like a little sword because it knows it's an attack, drop it on that guy, and it's a miss. But I did have advantage on the roll, so what we really should do is make sure we're targeted, because I'm going to show you. That guy's restrained. If we're targeted, it'll roll automatically. And right there, it's a critical hit. So at this point, we have our critical hit, which is our 3d6 damage there, plus our damage on the short sword. So let's watch what rolls. It throws a massive pile of dice. If it's rolled, it's doubled. So we just dealt 21 damage on that first hit. Now, we have our second attack. We have him targeted. And the other way we can do it, if he's not targeted directly, is to roll it over here. And as long as we drag and drop, it will do both dice. If we messed up our roll, like I did the first time without targeting, and that is another hit, so we're going to do our damage. And at this point, we need to make sure, and it did drop off. The sneak attack knows it's on the next hit, and then it drops off. And we only get to do it once per round. So we're going to go ahead and do our damage. We're going to drag and drop the damage onto the guy, and it's applied directly. And it was pretty feeble damage. But this here, it's not built in. I had to create this. And so like with my current campaigns, I'll have to go in and create these things. Or players may be able to do it themselves. I'll have to experiment and see. But what I did is under spells, because you have to create it like a spell so you can make all the adjustments on it, I created a sneak attack spell. There it is. And it's just 0 level. You don't put levels or anything. You just put the description. We'll close it out. That's sneak attack. And when you look on his character, because I created it as a spell, it's got this little doodiddy, which allows me to create the effects. So with the effect, it will automatically, it starts out showing as 1d6. But since he's level 6, you'll go in and manually change it as you level up. And it's automatically targeting yourself on the next roll, all that good stuff. So for a lot of the classes where you don't have things that that's automatically built in, you can go in and create these extra powers so that it automates it even more. So it's ready to go, like I did with that sneak attack hit. It knew to add 3d6. It was a critical. It did all this extra damage, and bam, you were done. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to show you on the forums. Go ahead and pull that up. So here on the forums, you see this guy went to the trouble, and let's find the first, there it is. This guy's got guides and other helpful videos that were put up, and down here it says complete package series. It has each class where he's created a character all the way up to level 20 and shows how to add these effects to your character. So you could download the XML file and then import that as a character to see how he's created the effects. And he even says which ones don't have an effect possible, and it breaks it down by type. And I'll show you in Fantasy Grounds the rogue character that I've imported. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So we are extending out the combat a little bit, but it's so I can show you how you would create these to make your life a little bit easier. So he has for the Arcane Trickster, the Assassin, basic rogue powers like evasion. You would cast it on yourself, and you know it automatically triggers that stuff for you. And it does make life a little bit easier. Like you have Elegant Maneuver, Panache, Rakish Audacity, all that good stuff that you can build into your characters. You level up, but he shows you how it's set up, and you just go in. You can see all he did is created a descriptor, and because it's a spell, it will, if you actually get something off of it, it'll get your ability to create these little doodads and have the effects to put on other creatures or yourself. So, you know, it's a little something extra you can add, and it does make it easier during gameplay. It may take a little time to add it on into your character, but once it's there, it's done. So that is all I'm going to say about that. Now we have our wizard. He is going to step back, and actually, he is going to do, because we said he's going to step back and leave the fighting to everybody else. And actually, it's not the wizard's turn, it's Pally's turn. He will not run away, move forward, and he's going to attack. Now, we're going to do both methods of attack, and hopefully both will hit, but we'll see. So, he has, and 2 attacks. So the first one we're going to do, we forgot to target. So we're going to go ahead and target for the attack. And this is something else we're going to do. If we manage to hit, we're going to go ahead and smite and apply the branding smite. So we'll apply that to ourselves. And then we'll roll our attack. So attack with our longsword. We're going to drag and drop. We're not targeting. We have advantage, so we hit. We will do our damage. And let's watch. We should automatically apply the smite damage, which it did. And if you look, the smite went away. It's a single turn effect. Now, when we put it on there, we're like, all right, it allowed for 10 rounds, but what it's doing is the next time you hit, it'll apply to that damage. And you don't have to keep putting it on every attack. So you can, if you know you're going to use that smite, you can go ahead and put it on there. And when you finally hit, even if you're having a bad run of luck throughout the combat, when you finally hit, it'll apply that smite damage, and you're done. So it does make it a bit easier. Now we have another attack, and we're like, you know what? Let's go ahead and target this guy this time. And let's take a look at the branding smite to see if there's anything else that it gave us. So if he was invisible, he'd be visible now, all that good stuff. And we would be in like flint to take care of that invisible guy. But that's not the case. So we are not going to worry about it. And if you look, when we cast that, it didn't reduce our second level spell slot. We have to manually go in and take care of that. So remember to get rid of that spell slot so you don't think you have infinite smites. Now let's go ahead and attack one more time. We're not going to smite again. This time, because he's targeted, we just need to double click. There's our attack. We hit. We'll do our damage. And he is done. Now let's take a look at this guy. He's been getting hammered, and he's not dead yet. So Wizzy steps up, and he's like, all right, we were there. We moved back here. He says, I'm going to see what I can do about this. We're going to drop a fireball. So if you're not sure what your spell does, you go into your actions. Look for fireball. Click on the dragon head. There, it'll tell you. You have 100 foot, 50 feet of range to drop it, a 20-foot radius sphere. And I do take sphere literally. So what we're going to do is create some room here. We will right-click the map. And it brings up this little radial here. You're going to click on pointers. We'll click draw circle because a sphere is circular. And I'm going to go ahead and cast it right here. We are an evocation wizard, so we can't harm our party members. So we've got 5, 10, 15, 20. That's our size. We can, if we wanted to move it around, we could go, oh, we'll move it back here, we're afraid. We could put it up here and say, drop it on the middle. Now, we could drop it anywhere where it hits everybody. And the truth of the matter is, we're an evocation wizard. We're going to drop it there just for the fun of it. And these two guys will sculpt out. So the way we do that, we make sure that we are in our character, and we will control-click on each of the enemies that will get hit in that circle. So they are all targeted now. At that point, we go to Fireball, hit the magnifying glass. Down here you see it says Cast. The save will be automatic. And the damage, we're going to roll it. We can't go higher level. So if we were casting it at a higher level, we'd have to go in and manually make some changes, but we're not doing that. So we can cast it as a third level spell. We will do that now, and watch over here. It'll cast, and all the saves will automatically go off and fire. And look at that. They all rolled horribly and failed horribly. So when we apply our damage, watch the wounds section for all the guys that are targeted. They all take 28 damage. Wizzy is done. So, and the other thing you want to make sure you do, after you're done that turn, go in, control-click all these guys that you're targeting, because you may cast a different spell on the next turn. Now, at this point, the orcs would be up, and we would continue combat. But you get the idea of what you need to do. You have options. You can either drag and drop the attack. You can control click, like this guy is targeted on him. Now at this point, we would have to make an adjustment because his buddy's right in front of him. That's going to create a -2. So if we were going to make an attack, it's not going to recognize the -2 to hit. So we would go down here. We're going to be honest and use our scroll wheel on our mouse, and on modifier do -2, and then watch. We will do our attack. It adjusts it to +7. We dropped the lower and it hit. And then, you know, if we had planned on doing a spell, we would go ahead and apply that to ourselves. Or we could do something like this where it does Hail of Thorns. If you're not sure what it does, click on the dragon head. Next time you hit a creature within range with a range attack, before the spell ends, it creates a rain of thorns that sprouts from your ranged weapon or ammunition. In addition to the normal effect of the attack, the target of the attack and each creature within 5 feet must make a dex save. So let's see if we can apply that. And let's do Hail of Thorns. We'll do another attack. So we're going to go ahead and apply Hail of Thorns to ourselves. Or actually, we're going to do this. We'll go... For this, we're going to target his buddies. We will cast. Did we not target? Oh, we didn't have this guy active. We had that guy active for some reason. So he's not attacking his buddy. Let's activate Rick. He's going to attack him and him with this. Let's do this right. We'll cast. And at that point, we can do the damage. And they had all failed, so they're all going to take that D10 of damage. And that's pretty much how you do it. It is super simple. And very easy. So these guys now that took the damage, you can see the other guys had the 28 damage from the fire. These guys are at 38 because they took the damage from the Hail of Thorns. Then at this point, we're going to need to control click here. That guy still needs to take his weapon damage from where we did the longbow. And he's dead. So screw that guy, take him off. Like I said, it all makes it very simple. You can apply all of these things, like when you're casting the spell, the Hail of Thorns, you make sure you target everybody that it would hit, and then do the cast. Then it'll take into account whether it hit or missed. You apply the damage. And that applies to all your caster spells. If it's something like what this guy has, where we have... And at the beginning of every turn, you're going to go ahead and apply this to yourself. You're going to say, all right, I want my sneak attack. So every round, you'll apply the sneak attack. It's automatically applied to your character for the next time you roll. With this guy, the Paladin, you're going to go ahead and next turn, let's say you don't want to use the Branding Smite. So we want to do Thunderous Smite. We would... apply that to ourselves. Next time we hit and apply damage, it'll automatically apply to that creature that gets hit. And then you would worry about the effect and all the other stuff and casting the save on the guy when you hit. And then let's say we did do that. So let's go ahead and do an attack with this guy. He has the smite set up for his next attack. He's attacking this guy. And we didn't target, so we're going to go ahead and target him. That's a hit. Now we'll apply our damage. And watch. The smite will fire off. And it says expired because we just did the smite. Now, we will also need to, because he's targeted, go in and cast. He did save, so he's not going to be knocked prone. So he got the damage. He didn't get the prone. But it really is that simple. You can also drag and drop that save on the War Chief. It'll do the success. You can cast on that War Chief. It'll do the same thing. That time he failed, he would be prone. It just really depends on what you remember to do. If you've control-clicked that guy, now he's targeted. You see the little arrow. If you've control-clicked, you can cast. That's the save. He failed. You can then apply. And the cast is for the effects. You need to remember that The damage that you're going to apply, you put that on yourself, and that will be on your attack. The cast is on the effects. So, like I said, you can cast it by dragging and dropping. It'll make him make the save. That time he succeeded. And that's how you'll always do it. Or you can simply click the cast, and it'll say whether he succeeds. Whatever you want to do, it'll work fine. But remember, some things, if it says self, you drag and drop, apply it to yourself. If it doesn't say self, then you drag and drop, apply it to the guy you're attacking. And I mean, that's pretty much it. Combat is really simple. Like I said, I mean, with my Friday campaign, I'll probably go in and start setting up what I need for the characters at the level they're at, and then add things as we go on. And it'll be up to the players to make the changes to the damage rolls. Not go, oh no, I only got 1d6, I'm level 5. Well, you should have fixed that a while ago. So remember to make those changes if somebody's nice and goes in and sets up those attack powers for you. But if it's set up, it makes things so easy for everybody that's at that class skill. So I say go ahead and spend a little bit of time. It's not that much to do. You just do it for the characters that need it at that time. Don't do it ahead of time for everybody. Unless you have a whole weekend to burn, have fun. But that's it for combat. AoE spells, real simple. Figure out what it'll hit. And see that pointer still sitting there? You go in, click pointers, remove pointers, done. If next turn he wanted to do something like lightning bolt, he could do that. You would bring your character up, take a look. You know it's going to do 100 feet and in a straight line. So you could just go ahead and let's make sure. All right, so he has both those targeted. That's our ranges. They're in within 100 feet. So let's go down to lightning bolt. Open it up. We'll cast. One failed, one succeeded. We'll cast our damage. Applies automatically, and you're done on that turn. If there were effects, you could apply them, but like I said, it makes things really easy. And that's one of the things I like about Fantasy Grounds. I think like what we've found is once everybody has the mechanics down, things go really quick compared to, at the table when you're fiddling around. Everything goes quick. The damage is applied. I don't have to sit here and go, wait a minute, which one? At the table, I don't use minis anymore for the enemies. I've got pogs that I printed, labeled 1 through 9 in different colors on my 3D printer. If I do an AoE spell, I'll sit there and go, okay, somebody point to each one. I'll roll individually. If he succeeds, keep it up so I see the number. If it fails, flip it over. And then I'll have to sit there and I'll apply the damage to each of the ones. If it was a fireball, that the number's up at half damage, then I'll start flipping the numbers, and it just takes forever. This takes no time. So you'll see that the combat, if everything's set up, everybody targets and does what they're supposed to do, it'll go really, really quickly. But that's it for combat, and that's it for the video. So we'll see you next time. We may do more on Fantasy Grounds. I'm not sure what we'll record next. It'll be based on what I need. If I need another instructional video on Fantasy Grounds for something else or setting things up, then I'll do that as well. But thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Put your comments down below, and we'll see you next time.